Guys, we're back. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we have a real big issue that's going around the world. And I'm telling you, it's out after you if it's not already got you, that is. It's out after your hopes, your dreams, your life, and your freedom. The maddest thing about it is, it doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are, what job you've got, it's out to get you. The big issue I'm talking about is called consumerism. Consumerism is us spending money blindly on material possessions, thinking it'll add value into our lives. Now, some examples of consumerism is us buying high-end cars, very expensive clothes, fancy holidays, going out partying all the time, and the list goes on. But the side effects of consumerism is major, and it includes high stress, long hours at work, and lack of freedom. Consumerism is the thing that keeps us in a rat race until we're 65. Well, in our case, if you're my age, that is, then it's more than likely 70 years old. But I've got real good news for you guys. Real good news. The way to fight it is called frugality. Frugality is carefully managing your money and not wasting anything. It often gets a bad reputation though, because me personally, when I talk about frugality, I get people saying, why don't you just enjoy life? Spend your money. It's not like you're going to die. It's not like you're going to die with it. Stop being cheap. The thing is, I'd say being cheap is totally different. I'd say being cheap is not spending your money at all and depriving yourself in life. Now, I consider myself a frugal person, but I've not always been that way. It's probably been since like the last 4 or 5 years when I became financially literate and understood how money works and how to manage it. Whether that be saving, budgeting, investing, and so on. When I learned about it, I realized that's the way to achieve freedom. So I believe if you can control money, you'll have more control in your life. And I feel that frugality is one of the best weapons to fight rising prices and gain control over your life. So in this video, I want to inspire you to implement frugality into your life and talk about 4 reasons why I'm frugal. And if you start being frugal, it can change your life for the better. But before I start, I'd really appreciate if you like, subscribe, share to your people, and it'll really help the channel grow. So reason 1 is, I don't want to be controlled by the person. Guys, the world is run by the person. And if you're not familiar of who the person is the establishment put in place to bring us down. And the biggest weapon the person has to control us is money. I mean, think about it. When you're in debt or have a low amount of savings, what can you do? You will do whatever the person tells you. Can you go on holiday? Can you take a break? It depends what the person says. The goal of the person is to keep you in debt. Now, the person wants you to get a new car. The person wants you to get a 5-bedroom house. The person wants you to keep upgrading your mobile phone every single year so you can stay in debt and stay in the rat race until you're 65, 70. I'm frugal because I don't want to be controlled. I don't want my freedom and my options to be in the power of somebody else. Because money is a game invented by the person to control us. But if you can learn how to play the game and not play it how 90% of society plays it, and instead you have a frugal life, you spend less, save more, and you have more options, because money equals options. So reason 2 is, I don't want to spend my entire life figuring out how to pay off debt. Now, what does society teach us? It teaches us to go to college, get into debt, get a high paying job, buy a big house, fill it up with hella stuff, and get into more debt, and then spend the rest of our lives trying to figure out how to pay off the debt before we retire. Now, what is the point of that? Because you tell me. Because honestly, that don't make no sense to me. That don't make no sense to me at all. Now, if you look around, debt is the normal in our society. Most people spend their entire lives trying to figure out how to pay off debt. And I know I tell people, don't get to debt in the first place. And you're going to be looking at me and they look at me like, Lamar, how'd you do that? How are you supposed to do that? But the thing is, I think people get into debt over wants and not needs. People go into debt by buying a new car instead of a used one. People go into debt buying a 5-bedroom house when all they need is a 2-bedroom house. And believe it or not, people go into debt over buying designer clothes. Now, money is simple, but people make it complicated. All you have to do is live below your means, save for the future, and don't buy anything you can't afford. I'm frugal because I don't want to waste my time spending my life trying to figure out how to pay off debt. Reason 3 is I value freedom over possessions. And like I said earlier, I haven't always thought like this. I used to love the fact of accumulating material possessions myself. And I didn't even acknowledge freedom. Well, I say I didn't, but if I actually deep it, I knew there was something missing in my life. And now with an understanding of money and frugality, I realized the whole time what was actually missing was my freedom. So I'd say once all the bills are paid, you should, if you have some left, but like I say, in this economy, it's mad. But there's 2 things you can do with it. 1, you can spend it, or 2, you can save it. Now, if you're spending money on unnecessary things, what you're actually doing is you get a little dose of dopamine, which will eventually fade away, which will leave you with less money and more jumble. But when you save or invest it, you're buying back a tiny piece of your freedom, because money equals options. I am frugal because I value freedom over possessions. And I think freedom is the best thing that money can buy. Reason 4 is I want to be able to spend time with my family now and not when I'm retired when I'm 65. Well, to be honest, I plan to retire before 65, but you know what I mean. The typical person will start working at age 18 and work until they retire at 65 years old. They'll work 40 hours a week on average and almost 1 hour a day to commute to work. There's even some people flying from one country to another where they'll spend weeks or months away from home. Not because they want to though, but because they're stuck in that rat race of life. Majority have a lot of debt, and if they don't make if they don't make the most money possible, they'll not be able to afford the lifestyle they're living. So it's like, I don't want to play that game. So what I do is I make smart decisions with my money, which result in me having to work less and have more time enjoying it with my family. The thing is, will £1 million house, £100,000 car, and a 10 grand motorbike help me achieve this goal? No, but I'll need to work like a dog to pay for it all. So yes, I'm not going through that. This is why I live frugal, guys. Anyway, that's all 4 steps covered today, guys. I really appreciate you guys locking in. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so yet, that is. Drop a comment, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see y'all soon.